Okay, we don't get all of our revenue from the state like a lot of other counties. Okay, we get, our schools get revenue from things such as property taxes and other things like that. So they would be benefiting through the property taxes. And if property value goes up because of commercial cannabis, then it's going to be a higher property tax. But yeah, I wanted to say that $20 taxation on per square foot of canopy is so high that, you know, after already being taxed as high as 47% of all revenue generated by your cultivation, I mean, you're pretty much aiding the corporation in pushing out the small farmers. You know, it's like the ag department, the planning department, the sheriff's department will end up seeing as high as 70 to 80% of all money generated through the taxation on square footage for compliance checks. And the other 20% ends up going to the county, 20 to 30% depending. Okay, so it's just one of those things where we have to weigh it. It's like Prop 64 implemented this thing called vertical integration and gave us, the small farmers, 5 years to establish a locally grown, locally sourced commercial cannabis industry that didn't need to sell out to the corporation after vertical integration sunsets January 1st, 2023. Okay, it's so huge. Colorado was Amendment 64. This is Proposition 64. We watched the corporation dismantle 40% of the overall commercial cannabis industry in Colorado in less than a year. And that's the thing, is the need for a locally grown, locally sourced commercial cannabis industry that has local small farmers at its front is dire. You know, it's like when the corporation gets involved, it's Type 5 licensing and there is no canopy limits. That money's not going to stay in this county, and that's why I'm totally against a $20 square foot taxation on per square foot canopy. It's almost obnoxious. You know, so $2, $4, that's realistic. $20 is just pushing the small farmer out and aiding the corporation in doing what they're already going to do. So, thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Yes.
So just kind of expanding on my husband. The collective my husband belongs to, Mendocino, has been supplying a large chocolate company in San Francisco and various dispensaries, which require testing for pesticides, etc. In our experience, basically the farmer gets squeezed by these large companies. So on the wholesale market. So that's why the Type 12 license would be ideal for a boutique style operation, i.e. Plumas County appellation, like a winery. And as far as environmental damage, we've heard a lot of environmental damage done to public access, which is not representative of where this industry is going. This ordinance is designed to create the accountability in that the illegal grows on public lands are still going to be illegal and will continue to be illegal. And as far as the wholesale market and kind of the punitive cost on the small farmer doesn't have the write-offs as other corporations and businesses do. So, you know, just keep that in mind as well when you're putting fees onto the small farmer. And then basically, in our experience on our property in Mendocino, our property volume has gone up. And then today, to quote or to cite the National Public Radio, NPR, they were talking about this $6.7 billion industry with ancillary markets also having a very large share in the money and, you know, taxation, etc. And then the 25% growth per year after that $6.7 billion industry. You know, $6 billion industry is per year, and then the 25% growth continuing annual, yeah. And then, interesting enough, NPR also, citing from NPR, they were talking about fentanyl, which is a opioid, synthetic opioid, where in Philadelphia, I believe, they were saying 13 people a day are dying from overdoses. And from statistics and studies that I've seen, the opioid has actually, use has gone down with the use of cannabis for pain, chronic pain. And just following the science as well, as far as, my background. Okay, sorry, basically, it's not a gateway drug, so to go.
And if you have those written down, if you wanted to hand them right to him, we could also.
Well, they're vegetables and all that.
Type it out, okay, awesome, all right. Anybody else?
Can I finish? One little time.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
Okay, cool, yeah, I just want to reiterate the small farmer thing. Like, I don't want to see it get crazy. Like, I think the small people, dilution is the solution to pollution. So it's like, I personally, organic, I want to see more of that. I don't want to see these huge grows pumping chemicals in. And if we do have dispensaries, I want to see something like our food co-op, where it's local farmers throwing in, and it's, the community owns it, sells everything. Keep it here.
Okay.
That's
Again, I want to reiterate too that, and I'm going to follow up with what Brandy was saying, is there's going to be a lot more public outreach, through the Planning Commission and through the Board of Supervisors. And right now, you can just go ahead and type something up, send an email off to Randy or to Becky at the Planning Department or to your supervisors. I didn't mention our supervisors, I probably should have, I guess. Maybe I should have. Anyway, but be sure and, if you know somebody that wasn't able to attend and they wanted to be able to make a public comment, that avenue is definitely available to them, and that there's one in Portola next Wednesday, and then Quincy.
August
17th. So, I did see one more
after the fair.
Yeah, I did see one more hand out there. Okay, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I just think that, there's a lot more to this if we can keep it together enough to where it's organized, it makes sense, and it's enforceable, and we can interpret it. It's not confusing. Allow people to get started. And then I think there's other cottage industries that are going to be able to be generated aside from grow, aside from manufacture. You're going to have people who can set up testing facilities. There's going to be a lot of clerical, there's going to be a lot of other industries and types of jobs that this could create for administrative and all types of other skills that I think people are kind of not looking at. So it's just something that I'm excited about for Plymouth County, and I'm hoping that we can get it rolling and do it right.
Randy?
Where you said administrative, I'm going to use the word. The state rules are heavy in paperwork, they'll choke the chicken.
Yes.
So that is true, that to follow the state paperwork and have the state permit, there's a lot of paperwork. So that's part of it. Okay, that's it. Amen.
So you used yours up on.
I'm going to defer, right?
To a reading of yours?
Well,
Okay.
I don't have that much to
Okay,
say,
okay.
other than, I've been listening to the comments. I don't have a problem with medical marijuana or recreational marijuana, but I do have a problem with, that there's no funding mechanism for illegal grows or safety issues, accidents, security, traffic violations, local community issues. It does change the community, especially in the, especially in the agricultural areas. I mean, we keep saying we're going to go back to the ag zoning, but I live in an ag zone, and my property value has just appreciated probably by half because I have somebody who is most likely going to be illegally growing right now. And I can't sell my beautiful home with something next door that there's nothing in place for me. I don't see the property values going up in an area where there are nice homes. And I don't think that that should be allowed without the adjacent parcels and property owners being able to have a say. I just don't think that that's fair.
All right, anybody else?
I had like 10 seconds of what I said.
Okay, then we're gonna wrap this up, okay, go ahead.
I'll be quick. I
Yeah,
believe
go
if it does get legal, I believe that funds generated from taxes would be a great way to combat illegal cartels that grow our national forests and poison our lands. And that would be a great way to solve some of the problems that they do to our forests and hopefully stop them from continuing these things.
Okay. All right, any other brief ones? If not, I really encourage everybody to go out to your friends, your neighbors, and if they have comments that they'd like to submit, or come to our next 2 meetings and submit comments that way. Thank you all for coming out. This is a great public process. This is what the government is all about, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank
Are they all?